mean, you're one of those guys who was around the Michael Jackson world.
Right.
I mean, what don't we know about that world that you know?
About Michael's, I mean, Michael, I only knew him on for the most part, a professional level. I don't even think when he attempted to be any closer than that, I even allowed it, because it's too crazy. You know, there's being famous, and then there's being that kind of famous, and that's a crazy world to be in, because you have no sense of reality.
And you can see that from the outside.
Because I was close enough at that point, because Guns N' Roses was probably the biggest stadium rock band at the time. And then you have Michael, who was the sort of Elvis Presley of the period. And it's like, that's a scary thing. And he was just dealing with it, and I felt for him, because he, as an artist, one of the genius artists, most genius artists I'd ever really been around, next to maybe Ray Charles and a couple other guys. And you know, sort of stuck in this world where nobody is real. You know, nobody will talk to him in a real fashion. Everybody's sort of around him so they can gain something from him, and so on and so forth. It's a very lonely situation.
I was thinking about how, you know, people who follow music these days say, how come music isn't like it used to be? And I think there's lots of great music today, but there's certainly a culture that seems to be missing. And the more and more I read about your childhood, the more I thought, the 70s don't exist anymore.
No,
and that was really what I think created a lot of the space for guys like you to develop. I mean, even your community as a kid, your neighbors and who your parents worked with, like you were around the greats.
That was a big influence on me, for sure.
Yeah, let's show two. I'm going to show you these album covers here. This is a connection to Slash here. Let's put one up here. So we got this Joni Mitchell record, right? I mean,
right.
And then we have this one as well. Show the next one. Ringo Starr album. I mean, those are both connected to your...
I remember that suit.
And why do you remember that suit?
Because my mom put it together, and she painstakingly put every single one of those little sequence in my hand, and it was a long, arduous process that seemed to take an eternity.
And so there you are, connected to a Beatle album cover. Right. And what about the Joni Mitchell one?
Well, my dad, let's see, my mom made her all her clothes, and my dad did her album covers, like 3 or 4 of them. So she was a pretty close friend of the family, an amazing artist.
And she lived close to you guys, right?
Yeah, like down the street.
Well, that's the thing. Like, when you were a kid, Bowie used to come to your house?
Well, that was a different neighborhood.
A different neighborhood?
That was later on, because that was my mom was dating him. And so that was after my mom and dad split up. So that was
you knew he was Bowie? Like, did you understand who Bowie was at the time?
I knew him from the album covers. No, I mean, I liked his music, and it was an interesting time. I had to have been, like, roughly 8, maybe 9 years old, you know, so it was sort of like, and they were never home. They came by the house every so often. He would come over, but you know, they were always off, sort of running around. But I went to a few Bowie shows as a result, you know, so that was cool.
That's amazing. That's got to really influence your worldview, though, just being around all that, doesn't it?
Well, you know, at the time, no, I didn't pay much attention to it. It's just when you're a kid, you just go with the flow. And then as I got older, then I started to realize that a lot of stuff that I'd learned had sort of prepared me to deal with a lot of the stuff that I was dealing with at the present. Right. And yeah, I'd have to say, I have to attribute some of the sort of way that I handle things, just having been around it before. You know.